pjnet.tv. It is 9 p.m. on the East Coast of the United States, and if that's what time it is, wherever you're at, you're watching it live. If not, you're watching the replay, and we're running the bumper for you, and we're glad you're here. We're recording, we're streaming live to Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Our chat room is waiting, our guest is waiting. I see no reason not to initiate a countdown to Studio 13. Well, good evening and welcome to pjnet.tv. I'm your host, Coach Prasick, and I'm sure glad to be here in old Studio 13. We've kind of dusted things off a little bit and brought it back because I wanted plenty of room to display this wonderful backyard, or what will be someday a wonderful backyard. And for all of you tree huggers out there, there's some trees you can come hug, and hug them so hard if you want to take them home with you. I bet that would be fine too. Every month about this time, what is this? The third Thursday, I bet, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, it is. We have Katherine Pasour, who's often found in the often found in her backyard working. Often found in the pjnet.tv live chat room. If that's not where you're at, you are missing a wonderful, sweet fellowship, and I hope that you'll join us there live if you can. There's folks there that want to be your friend. They want to follow you on Twitter. Katherine Pasour joins us now from her study in the Carolinas. I forget where you're at, but up there somewhere in God's country. And Katherine, you sent me this picture, and we know that there's a story here, but there might be more than one. How long will this project you've got underway? Now that you have it underway, how long are you going to be working on this?
I think it'll take me the rest of my life. I hope I live long enough to finish it.
That looks like it actually doesn't look much different from the house. We're in a similar situation, not exactly, but we are caretakers of my mother-in-law, and so we have purchased her house. And as your blog said, my father-in-law, who I love dearly, after his health began to fail him, he was not able to maintain the grounds the way he had when he was younger and healthier. And if you don't maintain these things,
That's right. And that's what my blog is all about, actually. That was a good lead in there, sir.
I try.
This is a house where I grew up. It's more than 50 years old, since I'm more than 50. And in the country, we would call this the home place. Doesn't look like a mansion or anything like that, but we'd call it the home place because this is where my brothers and sisters and I grew up. We labored and lived and loved in that house, but it's been empty for the past 20 years. And when we talk about maintaining something, a house that's empty will really go down fast. Of course, I think that's a story behind that too. But for another day, I guess. But I drive by that house. I live just further on down the road, and I drive by that house every day when I go to work or to go out for any reason at all. I drive by it. And so for the past 20 years, I've been looking at it and saying, we need to fix it. We need to fix it. We need to fix it. And it was on our list of projects for my husband and I to do it, but it's one of those things that we never got around to. The story about the round to it.
Round to it? Mm-hmm.
Around to it. We didn't get around to it. But this past year, I decided that I had to make a decision. Either I was going to have to let it fall down or I was going to have to fix it because it was that far downhill at the time. So I made the decision to try to save it. So I was looking, and actually, Mark, it might look like a backyard, but this is a front yard.
Okay.
Those tall trees are in the back, and there's this huge drop-off. The tall trees in the back come all the way up to the back of the house. And the back of the house is 2 stories high because there's a basement in it.
Okay.
But
Oh,
those trees are just about 10 feet away from the house. There's a bunch of oak trees, and they were thicker than they are now up to about a month ago because I had some trees trimmed. I guess that's kind of a clue when you saw that one in the front yard. But we examined the house. I got my brother to help me, and we examined the house and decided the first thing we needed to do was fix the foundation. Because in the back of the house, as I mentioned, it was 2 stories, and there's a chimney on one end of the building, and you can't really see it in your picture. But there were cracks all in the foundation on the back side. So the first step was to fix the foundation. And you know how JD and I, and there are lots of other folks that visit on PJNet, we always look for the life lessons that we see in our everyday lives. And so got to thinking, a house can't stand without a strong foundation, and neither can we. We don't have a strong foundation in our faith and maintain that by being in the Word of God and fellowship with believers and having a strong prayer life, then our foundation will falter as well. So, so I got the foundation worked on. And then the next step was the leaky roof. And it had leaked badly, even though the years on the roof had not expired. It had a 30-year roof on it, but they had not expired. But wind and weather and a tree falling on the roof and just all kinds of age issues, the roof was leaking all throughout the house. So the next step was to fix the roof. And actually, in this picture, you can see my brand new metal roof. Before that, it had a shingle roof on it. And we decided to put a metal roof on it this time. So I'm excited that the foundation is fixed and the roof is fixed. But the inside of the house is in terrible shape. So I've got a really long ways to go. But to me, the roof of a house reminded me of the armor of God. Because if we've got a good roof on our house, then it can be, and a good foundation, it can be stable for a right long time. Doesn't mean we don't have to maintain the rest of it, but it can be stable for a right long time if we have a good foundation and a good roof. So that's why that reminded me of the armor of God. When you've got a leaky roof, the rainwater just finds a way to get in there, and the hole can be in one place, but the water can go in half a dozen different directions after it sneaks in.
Mm-hmm.
So your entire ceiling in several rooms can just come tumbling down, which mine did. And do you know all the nasty things that are in your attic? Ooh, that all came tumbling down too
Yeah.
into the floor. So that also reminded me, of course, that if we don't keep our armor of God um, well maintained by having a really strong relationship with our Father, then sin will just leak in, just like that water finds a way. And it can creep in drop by drop, or it can pour in like a fountain. But either way, the damage occurs to the roof, just as it does for us. And another good thing about blogs, Coach, is that when our friends visit our blog and comment on them, they just leave all kinds of snippets of wisdom. And I don't know if JD's in the chat room
Oh,
or
he's
not.
already posted a round to it in the chat room.
Oh yeah. Uh, Maybe some other people besides me have some round to it issues. But he posted something, a comment, and added some really greater wisdom than what I had put in my original message. He said sometimes our spiritual roof will just feels like it's blowing off, but in actuality, it may be just imploding, and because of our selfishness and pride, we just sort of explode our armor of God, our roof off. And I really liked that analogy. And then Ben had another great comment. He said, when we're building, we have to follow the code, the rules that all counties have set up. And naturally, we complain about that, them being so nitpicky. But when we're building when we're allowing our Father to gift us with the armor of God, and we're trying to maintain that armor, we have to follow God's building codes in building
Mm.
that, and that's
Mm-hmm.
to really seek His guidance in all things, and to fellowship with believers, and worship and praise. So we have to follow His plan, just like drawing a house plan. We have to follow God's plan for maintenance. Now, I am sure you are ready to add something.
Well,
So
we're doing
go
something a
for
little
it, sir.
different this week, folks. I've put the website that this and other blogs can be found is up on the screen. It's katherinepasour.com. And I, I would encourage you to go there and read, because there is so much more, and this is evidenced by the comments. Now, you said something earlier that I don't know, Miss Catherine, if you understand just how profound that was. But first, some humor. It's really not possible to repair a roof, because if it's raining, you cannot make those repairs while it's raining. And if it's not raining, you don't need to fix it. So, uh, I can remember at my grandfather's house. I never really got to know my grandfather. He died before I was really of age to, have a. I just remember of him. I don't really remember, but I can remember sitting in that old house on his orange grove, and when it would rain, the water would start dripping in. It was just literally tin roof over rafters. There, that. And of course, they would get pots out of the kitchen, and put them all around and catch the water, and sometimes they would fill up. And somebody said, I was very young. I mean, I must have been 7 years old at the time, and I can remember even at 7 years old the absurdity of this statement. Well, you need to get a bigger pot.
A bigger what?
A bigger pot to catch the rainwater as it drips in. And I couldn't have been more than 6 years old. But I realized even at that age how stupid and moronic that is. Because the problem isn't the size of the pot. The problem is
Right.
the roof. And,
Uh-huh.
and don't we sometimes try to fix spiritual problems that way? By getting a bigger pot?
Mhm.
That we treat the symptom rather than the underlying cause? So I hope you found that humorous. Uh,
Oh, I did.
but the other thing that I thought of as I read your blog, and I'm tardy in or remiss in my duties, keeping up with things, because it was only a few hours ago when I read it. But you mentioned it a few moments ago. The leak may be over here, but the water, as it's finding its way to the ground,
Hmm.
sometimes runs down the rafter and over and down and all that. And that is the most insidious type of thing, because the roof, by the time you discover the leak, so much damage has already been done. And isn't this true in our spiritual life? We think, oh, it's no big deal. I got this. It's okay. It's nah, I'm not. Or in our physical lives, I don't need to exercise. I'm okay. My blood pressure's okay. My blood sugar's okay. When it's really not.
Hmm.
And over time, and by the time we realize the urgency of the situation, so much damage has been done. With a roof, it can always be repaired, but with our bodies, sometimes the damage is permanent, and we live with the consequences of not maintaining our. Well, the Bible refers to our body as a tent that we live in, here on the earth, which is a structure, a place of shelter. And the tin roof, did you put
Our bodies are a temple of the Holy Spirit,
They are.
the Bible tells us.
That
And
is.
therefore, that we should really take care of it.
Right.
So that exercise and that healthy diet
Yeah. And
take
I,
care of
I
our
won't,
temple.
I'm not going to have any more Copenhagen for until 10 o'clock tonight. I mean,
Good.
the
It's a good
tin,
start.
we have a tin roof also. Did you put that over the existing shingles, or did you remove it to check the the stuff underneath, whatever the shingles attached to the roof, the
We
plywood.
put it on. We put it on top
Yeah. Well, that's
because we checked the wood
yeah.
by going into the attic and looking at the wood.
Okay, that's good.
So it was a
Um,
pretty good check.
Something that is a little bit different this week is you want to talk about two blog entries. The two, they were part of a series, so we're well past the halfway mark. But the second in the series talks about
Was the roof.
was that sin creeps in. It creeps in,
Hmm.
and it is an insidious thing. And I didn't get to read the comments on that one, but folks, if you have not visited KatherinePasour.com, it's on the screen. I don't know what your excuse is. Now, don't go right now. Wait till the program's over. Wait. Open it in a new tab or something like that. And but Catherine, you stay at it. Your JD was mentioning, and I would have to concur, that you are one of the hardest working women of any age that I know. Uh, but in your process that you're talking about, you've committed yourself to uh, repairing, if not restoring, this house. When you looked at the foundation, that news could have been to the effect that it's not worth fixing. Did you consider that?
Hmm. Yes. Of course, I had to get an expert and an engineer to come and inspect it, and they said yes, it could be. The actual cracks won't close up, but it'll stabilize the helical piers that they installed,
Hmm.
6 of them. It will stabilize, so it'll stop the damage
Hmm.
from getting any worse. So that's also sort of like sin in our lives. God forgives our sins, but we don't normally forget them. They're
Yeah.
always there, and we tend to remember them, and that actually helps us to keep us from doing it again.
Well, and there comes a point, even forgiveness and spiritual restoration. There's a point at which your effectiveness has it's just too late. The house could never be what it once was, or what it was designed to be, or what it could have been, because we waited too late to intervene. And you passed by this house, what you said, 20 years or so.
Oh yes, I
And it
live on the same. I live on a country road, and I have to pass back and forth past this house to get to my own house.
mhm.
So it's not like I could escape it. It was right there,
Well,
reminding me
but
every day.
it happens so
Here I am.
gradually. You see it every day, but say somebody comes to see you that hasn't seen you in a year, and they drive, and they would say, "Gosh, the old home place has gotten all grown up," and you didn't even realize it because it happened so gradually.
Right. It did. It snuck up on me, and that's
Hmm.
also the way of sin. It
So,
sneaks up on us.
oh yeah, boiling the frog, as they say. What is your plan? Is this house inhabitable presently?
No, not presently. It's not
What
inhabitable.
What's the plan?
What's the plan? Well, my original plan was, well, very first aspect of my plan was to keep it from falling down.
Hmm.
And so that was the reason the foundation and the roof had to be fixed. And then I would like to get it to a stage where it is inhabitable. And I don't know whether I'll rent it or whether somebody in the family might want to live there.
Yeah.
We just have to take it one step at a time. We have to take small steps. Have to think about the big picture, think about the long term goal, but then I have to take tiny steps to get there
Hmm.
because just looking at it, it's overwhelming. It's just walk inside of it and see how bad it looks inside. It's just overwhelming.
This house, was it all built at the same time, or was the first? It looks
The
like it.
larger section
It
is the original section,
hmm It
the
does
one
look
with the
like it
longer
is added
porch,
on to.
and then the other end uh,
So, how many
is
years ago
was
was the original house? How
The
old?
original house
What
was
year?
built in the early 50s.
Hmm.
The original house.
Okay. Well,
Um,
the
it's
house that we are, I mean, we're both on a similar track here, but it was mid to late 50s, and it's only been added onto in the sense a back porch, an open screened-in porch was added. But they built houses very differently in those days.
yes.
Very differently. It's like, are you kidding me? Why? The rooms are small. Their walls are everywhere. There's no open space. And most of the ranch style houses built back in those days, you have your at the crest of the roof, there's a wall that runs the entire length of the crest of that roof that is a weight bearing wall.
Hmm.
Well, that really messes up floor plans.
Yes.
Because only half the house is usable for any one purpose. You can't have, you say we want open concept kitchen. No, not in one of those houses. You won't have it because
And they only
the
have
roof will
one
fall.
bathroom
One
usually.
shower.
Oh,
One shower.
uh-huh.
Yeah, yeah.
That's terrible.
And I'm thinking, who in their right mind? But my wife and her brother grew up there with two. I mean, in the 70s, you had the wife, the husband, and two kids, and they both worked. I mean, what do? You have to buy tickets to the shower to reserve it, or how do you do that?
There were 7 of us in that house. 5 children and 2 parents.
One
Ooh,
shower.
one. Oh, we didn't have a shower. It was a bathtub.
That's even worse.
I know.
I'm not going to even ask what came to my mind. Don't tell me you use the same water. Here, I'm done. You go ahead.
No, 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 no. We weren't quite that backward.
I won't take a bath. I mean, I don't want to bathe myself in dirty water of my own, let alone. Yeah, okay, so good. But but things have changed, and in many ways they've changed for the better. But those old houses have a lot of memories, and you cherish those memories, and you also want to honor, the memory of your parents, that
Right.
worked, and that was their home, and the home
And
you were raised in.
it's more than just you said it. It's more than just a building. It's a home.
Yeah. So there's an emotional attachment.
Yes,
It's not just a
very much.
structure. And when the engineers come in and all that, they're looking at it purely from a physics and geometry point of view, and a little deeper now. I wish we had a basement. I'd really like that. In fact, I've thought about making a PJ Net basement, off the end of the house. You can't really go up. You can't go, but I could
Mhm.
go down and out, make a
You
nice
could.
man cave,
Basements
bunker.
are nice, but they're moldy. They're moldy, and that's a whole nother story.
Yeah. All right. Well, Catherine, I admire what you're doing, and I wish I were nearby to take my chainsaw to that wood that's in your front yard. Uh,
Oh, we'll get it. We'll
well,
get it.
well, but I need the exercise, and I did
Oh,
this 2
okay.
years ago. I had large, you call them pecan trees that you can't reach around. They're huge, and they're old, and they're dangerous. They're old, and they're you know, uh, but it costs a lot of money to have those removed. But it doesn't cost near so much just to have it cut like you see here. Just here laid on the ground. Of course they cut
Hmm.
cut it in pieces. It doesn't. The whole tree doesn't fall over at one time. They cut limbs off of it. But that winter with an axe, I cut that wood up and split it up, put the firewood in the back of my truck, parked it in the parking lot, free firewood, and when I would end my shift, no more wood in the back of my truck.
And got you in really good physical condition too,
I,
didn't
I
it?
lost almost 25 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, swinging an axe is that's a craft. That's not just physical work. There's a technique to it. Okay,
Oh
I,
yeah. So you
I,
don't cut your leg off.
well, you got to split that wood. If you don't
Definitely
hit that,
technique.
you got to learn the grain of the wood, how to hit that wood with the axe at a certain place, and then the wood will split and fly off in three directions. Well, two,
Mm-hmm.
but But if you hit it wrong, that axe head will bounce off of it like a piece of rubber. It's the way the
Yeah.
grain runs. You got to learn. And you got to learn that that's where I want to hit it to make that axe actually hit it where you want it to. And it's not about how hard you swing the axe, although it takes a certain amount of. It's like golf. It's not how hard you swing the club. It's it's craft, I'm telling you. And I would
It's
look
what?
forward to getting out there and sweating up a storm, you know. But you're too far away. But
I know.
anyway. Well, Catherine, thanks for sharing with us. Folks, remember to go to KatherinePasour.com. Now, once you get there, I bet you there's some kind of subscribe or some sign up thing. And
There is.
sign up.
Yeah.
Sign up, folks. If you are in the PJNet family, I'm going to have to do this myself. I haven't done it. I have for some, but not for you, Catherine. So I'm going to make a commitment to
Well, I hope
subscribe.
you will. Go to the blog. Go to the blog section.
Go to the blog
actually
section.
sign up. I think
Right.
the homepage subscribe button is not
Yeah,
currently
go
operating.
to the
Go
blog.
to the blog.
Well, go
That
read the
subscribe button is.
hit those subscribe buttons. And Catherine, we appreciate you. You do well. I enjoy the lessons that you purvey the same way I do JD, because ordinary things that happen in our life, God's trying to talk to us if we would just be still and listen. And you know what? Speaking of JD,
He's
speaking of
ready.
JD, he will be here any minute. And folks, Catherine, thanks for sharing with us tonight. And we'll see you. Can't wait to see what you're going to tell us and share with us
Okay.
next month.
Thank you.
All
Thank you all.
right.
Have a
All
great
right. Catherine Pasour, how blessed we are. There you see the view from the Eagle Eye, the Eagle's Nest, the broadcast facilities here at pjnet.tv. Well, the stories are going to keep coming. We got more stories, and JD is the purveyor at the Cross W Ranch, and he will be here at the bottom of the hour, so please don't leave. I've got to do a little dusting and cleaning up to get things ready for him. But in the meantime, while I'm doing that, I have an assignment for you. It's only 2 questions. Pop quiz. First question: what is the boldest thing that you have ever done for Jesus Christ? And second, how long ago was that? And it is my hope that none of us will be satisfied with our answers to either of those 2 questions. What we need. It's that simple. All right. Now, what I'll do is we won't use my